So good afternoon. Let's begin our today's topic. Today we are going to see, rather we are going to start the topic called as mathematical modeling of dynamic systems. Okay. Uh, Remember, this topic is actually applicable to all the engineering. This is not only restricted to electrical engineering only. This is actually part of the whole engineering process. All sorts of engineering branches or concepts need some form of mathematical modeling. Of course, we are not going to cover everything. We are going to see three types: electrical, mechanical, and electromechanical systems. Okay, the major focus will be on electrical and mechanical systems. Okay, so in this topic, what we are going to see is we are going to see types of model, and then mathematical modeling of, as I just said, electrical systems, mechanical systems, and electromechanical systems. Okay, so when we if you have noted what I said, dynamic system. Okay, so when a system is said to be dynamic if its current output, remember what I'm saying, if its current output may depend on the past history as well as the present values of the input variable. Okay, here I'm trying to use word variable, so there may be one or more variables as acting as inputs. And also in some cases the system itself may also have multiple outputs. Means what? Single input, single output, single input, multiple outputs, multiple inputs, single output, and multiple input, multiple output. All these possibilities are there for any system. Okay. In control system 1, we are going to restrict our discussion on single input, single output systems only. Okay. Those are also called as CISO, single input, single output systems. Okay. So particularly in our subject, we are going to see only SISO systems. This is one thing. Okay. So now coming back to what we were talking about, the dynamic system. Okay. Dynamic system is a system whose current output, means here in this case y of t is dependent on past history as well as present value of what? Past and present values of the input variables. Okay. Sometimes it may also depend on the past values of the output. Okay. Past values of output also may be required, which for example, in case of recursion, it is called. Okay. So now we are looking at the general formulation of a dynamic system. So if this y of t is the output, u is the input, and t is a time variable. So what in this particular equation, what we are saying is the current output is a function of u of tau, where tau being from 0 to t. Means what? Current time is t. Okay, current time is t. So current output is the function of inputs for. So this tau is going to take value 0, 1, 2 up to t minus 1 and t, right? Means u of 0, u of 1, u of 2, like that, coming up to u of t minus 1 and u of t, like this, right? So this is what it indicates, that the current output, this is the current output, is dependent on the current as well as previous values of the inputs. Okay. Example of a dynamic system is let's say a moving mass. I have purposefully selected this kind of an example for now, because you have to recall all those mathematical equations, basically the Newton's laws of motion you have to recall, and that we are going to see afterwards. Okay. So for a moving mass, we know force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? So if y is the displacement of this mass, m is the mass, this is the mass, okay, y is the displacement, right, and u is what? U is the force of light. Okay, so basically u is the input and y will be considered as output. Why? Why is it like this? Because when we apply force onto a mass, the mass will show some displacement, right? So force is the cause and displacement is the effect, right? So this is the basic equation, Newton's which law? Which law of motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many laws are there? Newton's laws of motion. How many laws do you remember? There are 3 basic laws of motion. This is the second law of motion, right? Newton's second law. Okay. So this is an example of a dynamic system. So there are various ways to study a system, basically. A lot of ways, in fact. Okay. So if there is a system, what we can have? We can take a system directly, experiment with the actual system, and find out what happens. This is the experimental or empirical way of studying the system. But is it always feasible to do this? Is it always feasible to study a system in this way? Of course, no. Because, for example, if it is a, let's say, a chemical plant where we want to manufacture gunpowder. Gunpowder, you know, gunpowder, right? The explosive used in guns or for manufacture of bombs or things like that. In defense industry, you can say they use it. So in case of that, what will happen? Can we just try experimenting with that? Of course, it is not possible to experiment directly in such cases, right? So instead, create a model of the system and experiment with that. Experiment with a model of a system. Instead of studying, experimenting with the actual system, we can experiment with a model of a system. That is a much better way. Now, again, there are 2 options. You can build a physical model, and other way, you can build a mathematical model. Most of the times, you will see physical models in case of civil engineering. If you have seen some of the model building competitions in civil, for example, model of a bridge, model of a building, model of some bridges, like that, right? So that way, you can build a physical model and experiment with that. Or else, we can also build a mathematical model of the system and experiment with the mathematical model. Okay. Now, once you build a mathematical model, there are again 2 options. You can apply analytical solution, means only mathematics, only on paper. Analytically, you can experiment with the system. We will see how to do this. And other ways, you can create a simulation of that mathematical model and experiment with that. Okay, this is also we are going to see. And when we talk about simulation, there are 3 options again: frequency domain simulation, time domain simulation, or hybrid domain simulation. Frequency domain simulation means basically the model itself we will build in, or we will, once we build a simulation model, mathematical model of the system, we will apply frequency domain techniques on it to study the system, or we can apply time domain techniques on it, and we can also apply hybrid domain techniques on it. In our subject, we are going to see only time domain and frequency domain analysis technique. Okay, so this is how we are going to study our system, right? We are going to build mathematical models, and in some section we will do analytical study, and some part we will do simulation study. Okay, in time domain as well as frequency domain. Okay, now coming back to the formalization of mathematical model. So basically, mathematical model is a set of mathematical equations. In general, most of the times those are differential equations that describe the input-output behavior of a system. Okay, this is the most common way of representing a system mathematically. We will see in a while. We will see how we do this. Okay, and then what is the model used for? Where is it used? For what purpose is it used? So first thing, what we said, simulation. It can also be used for prediction or forecasting. You might have heard these words, right? Weather forecast. So how do they do weather forecast? Of course, we cannot do any sort of experiment on the weather prediction. What they have, weather scientists, they have mathematical models, simulation models of the atmosphere and all the conditions. They apply certain tests in simulation and then they forecast. Okay. Then prognosis or diagnosis of a system can be done. And design or performance evaluation can also be done of the system. And the most important one which we are interested in is the control system design itself can be done using mathematical model. Basically, at the end of this course, what we are going to study is the design of a control system, right? Now, what is meant by a design of a control system? It is to define or to find out a mathematical model or a physical system which will satisfy certain characteristics. So once we go ahead with our next unit, you will come to know what are those different characteristics, what are the desierations, and all those things we will see. And based on that, based on those desired characteristics, we are going to design a control system at the end in the last chapter. Okay. Now, coming to the start of mathematical modeling. So firstly, we are going to look into the mathematical modeling of electrical circuits or electrical systems. And in that case, we need to know some basic relationships between or basic VI relationships for the three basic components: resistor, capacitor, and inductor. Okay. So this table nicely summarizes everything that is required for this modeling. So I suggest that all of you take a note of this table. Okay. Take a note of this table into your notebook. Write it down properly and keep it safe. Okay. Yeah. So remember, this is not something really new or something quite different. You have already seen all these things, these three basic things. Okay. A resistor, this is the symbol of the resistor, and the voltage across the resistor, VR. Voltage across the resistor is IR, right? V is equal to IR. We say this n number of times in a day even. The only thing we are showing here is the voltage as well as current are functions of time, right? These are functions of time. That is the only thing that we have shown, right? And it is rightly so, because we may change accordingly. We will also change. So at what time we have changed, or at what time what the value of I was there? Let's say at t equal to 0, I was 0. At t equal to 1, I was 1 ampere. At t equal to 2, I was 2 ampere. At t equal to 3, I is 0.5 ampere. So accordingly, voltage also will change. And at the At that particular time only, the voltage will be corresponding to that current, right? Okay. The similarly for capacitor, the voltage across capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor is 1 upon C integral of I IC of T is dt. IC just indicates that this is a current flowing through the capacitor, right? The voltage across the capacitor is 1 upon C, where C is the capacitance of the capacitor, and multiplied by integration of current over the time, whatever time period for which the current has flowed, right? And for the inductor, the voltage across the inductor is L di by dt. This IL shows that the I is the current, IL is the current flowing through the inductor. Okay, so these things we already know, right? What is more interesting in this case is now for mathematical modeling, since our mathematical model is restricted to Laplace transforms. It is restricted to transfer function model. That is what only we are going to see in this particular subject, right? So for that, we need Laplace transforms of each of these. So if we convert this function, or if we convert this equation into Laplace domain, what we get, Vr of s, s being the Laplace domain variable, it is equal to Ir of s into r. Okay, for r there is no change, it is straightforward. For a capacitor, when we have integration, then it gets multiplied by 1 by s. This, for this only we have seen the Laplace transforms of derivative and integration in our earlier lecture. If you can recall that, we have seen this, that the derivative of the Laplace transform of integral is 1 by s, right? Similarly, in the case of inductor, where the voltage is L di by dt, so it is L for di by dt. For the derivative, it is multiplication by s and ILS, right? Now, remember again, I am repeating now, whenever we are doing this conversion from time domain to frequency domain, we must also put a note that assuming what? Initial conditions as 0. Otherwise, this equation will not hold if initial condition is not considered as 0. Okay. So hope all of you have written down these relationships, because these are going to play a vital role when we are going to solve some problems like this. Okay. For example, we have now a simple equation, quite simple, right? R and C, there are only two elements. We are applying input voltage here, Vi of t, and we are measuring the output Vo of t across the capacitor. Okay, current I of t is flowing in this circuit like this. It is shown like this. Okay, so what we want to find out the transfer function Vo of s divided by Vi of s. This is what we want to now find out. Okay, so how do we start? What shall we do for this case? In this case particularly, simple. Write down the equations, the relationships based on the table that we have seen. Okay, so Vi of t is nothing but addition of the two voltage drops, right? The voltage drop across R is what? Just in the previous slide we have seen Vr of t, and this is C of t, which is nothing but equal to V of t also, right? And their equations we have also seen. VR of t, the voltage across the resistor is IR, I of t into R. And voltage across the capacitor is 1 upon C integral I of t dt, right? And also V of t, as I just said here, V of t is nothing but the voltage across the capacitor Vc of t, which is nothing but equal to the same thing, 1 upon C integral I of t dt. Now what? Take, I have just rewritten these two equations here, okay? Now taking the Laplace transform of both the equations, considering initial conditions to be equal to 0. So what we get? See, we are just using the same formula that I have just shown you a while earlier on in the table, right? Those are the same formula, right? Okay. So Vi of S is equal to I of S R plus 1 upon Cs IS, and VO of S is equal to 1 by Cs I of S. Okay. Now what shall be done? Anyone? What we want ultimately? What is the answer required? The answer that we are searching for is VO of S divided by VI of S. This is what the transfer function actually is, right? This is what we are expecting. So, yes, can anyone go ahead with the answer, solving it? I'll just give it to you. Vi of S we already have. We have just taken out common I of S. So what remains inside the bracket is R plus 1 by Cs. And this is VO of S. This Cs goes on this side. I have just found out the equivalent of I of S. So what can be done now? We can substitute now I of S in the first equation. Okay. We can substitute. Again, I have reproduced the same equations. Those are not new equations. I hope all of you are writing this in your notebooks. Everyone has to write down whatever the derivations or solutions we are doing in your notebooks. Okay, that is expected.
Hello
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
ते विंडो मध्ये चालू बंद होते ते एक्झाम्पल वाला विंडो सर.
म्हणजे एक्झाम्पल
म्हणजे ते तुम्ही जेव्हा लिहितात ना तेव्हा परत दुसऱ्या डेस्कटॉप साईड वर जातो आणि परत येतो असं चालू आहे.
आपण ते पण दिसतं का? म्हणजे जे लिहिलेलं आहे ते दिसतंय ना? फ्लेकर होतंय हा एक झाला बा, पण दिसतंय ना तर नाही दिसत?
हो सर दिसते, पण मध्ये मध्ये परत बंद होते चालू होते असं होतं.
काहीतरी याचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे, नेटवर्कचा आहे किंवा झोनचा काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम आहे, येतोय काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम, पण सोल्युशन तरी काही नाही सापडलेलं त्याला सध्या तरी नाही. ओके, म्हणजे जेव्हा मी लिहित असतो तेव्हा ते बाजूला होतं का?
हो सर.
ओके, सो व्हॉट आय विल डू, वन्स I will try to take some pause after every writing. प्रत्येक वेळी लिहिल्यावर थोडासा पॉज करत जाईल, असं काहीतरी करत जातो. ओके. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we will substitute I of S in the equation on the left. I of S की वैल्यू क्या है? I of S is CS V0 VO of S. So instead of I of S, I have written it here. Now what can be done? You tell me what we want. VO of S upon VI of S we want. So we are going to just making rearrangement of terms so that what happens? Rearrangement of terms करून काय होईल आता? काय करायचं? V of s upon Vi of s या फॉर्म में आना है. Okay. So I have written it here, the answer. Just verify on your own also what happened. Okay. Yes. So V of s upon Vi of s is equal to 1 upon Cs into R plus 1 by Cs. This can also be simplified a little bit more. You can again multiply it by Cs to the numerator and denominator, and you can get Cs upon 1 plus RCS square. Oh, S square. Okay, I hope that all of you are writing whatever is going on, because only listening to the lectures will not be sufficient for particularly for control system 1. It will be quite difficult for all of you if you don't practice all these problems. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so now this is the transfer function that we have seen now, right? V of s upon V of s is equal to 1 upon 1 plus RCS. So if we have this transfer function now, can we analyze it? Can we discuss about the what we said in the earlier lectures also? How many poles it has? What is the order of the system and all those stuff? Can we try to write those answers? Where is the pole? Order of the system and value of 0. Yes. Can you answer these questions? Where is the pole of the system?
-1 upon RC.
Right? -1 on RC. How do we find out this pole? The process is same, right? The process is same. You take the denominator polynomial. You take the denominator polynomial 1 plus RCS equal to 0, and just solve this equation for S. So S RCS is equal to -1, S is equal to -1 upon RC, right? So this is the pole of the system. Where is the 0 of this system? Next question. Where is the 0 of this particular system? Yes? Anyone? Where is the 0 of this system? There is basically there is no 0, because for calculating 0, what we have to do? We have to equate this to 0. Is it possible? It is not at all possible to have the numerator polynomial equal to 0, because numerator polynomial is 1, and we cannot equate 1 to 0. This will never happen. You cannot have any value of s. Basically, what it means, what 0 means, a value of s for which the system function will be 0. So, do we have any value of s for which the system function will be 0? No. Right? So, there is no 0 in the system. What is the order of the system? What is the order of the given system? Yes?
1 sir.
1. How do we find out that order of the system is 1?
Denominator ला s the degree.
Okay, yes, right. The degree of the denominator polynomial is 1. Therefore, the order of the system is 1. Also, it is the same number of poles. It is equal to the number of poles. There is only one pole, and therefore the order of the system is 1. Both things are correct, right? In both ways, you can answer this. Number of poles as well as order of the denominator polynomial. Basically, it is the degree of the denominator polynomial. Basically, those are the equivalent. Okay. So I hope this is clear now. This was the simplest of the example. We can now move ahead with a little more complicated one. But before that, I'm going to tell you some simplification tricks which you should apply before trying to solve the numericals on electrical system model. We are talking about 3 basic elements: resistance, capacitance, and impedance and induction. So what we should do is first convert the time domain quantities into their corresponding S domain, means Laplace domain, right? We are converting the time domain into frequency domain in the first place, and that way it will become easier for us to solve further equations. Okay. So as we saw in the lecture, in today's lecture earlier, for resistance, it is simply ZR. You can just write down in that form, Z being the notation for impedance. But we are talking about transform impedance, in the impedance in the transform domain or Laplace domain. That's what we are talking about. Okay. Nothing fancy about that. That was quite clear. For inductance, we have seen it gets multiplied by S. If in time domain the inductance is L, so in the Laplace domain it becomes Ls, right? Am I right? It becomes Ls in the Laplace domain. Okay. And for the capacitance, when we have C as a capacitance in the time domain, its equivalent transform impedance is 1/CL, right? It is this is actually what we have seen earlier in this table also, right? In the table we have seen this. It is nothing. It is not really that different thing, right? Here it was R, it remained R. Now what I am just writing, instead of R, we are writing ZR. Instead of this, we are writing ZC. Instead of this, we are writing ZL, right? That is the only thing that we are doing now. Okay. So this is what we are going to do first. And now I'm going to show you the problem and then we'll stop here. Okay. We are going to, for example, just not really problem. We are not really talking about the problem yet. I'm just telling you, when there are these 3 components are in series, what will be the equivalent impedance? Just apply the same basic electrical laws. Nothing different. Impedances in series, so their addition will be done like this. And if those are in parallel, again we apply the same basic laws of our electrical circuits. The equivalent impedance will be calculated from the laws of parallel. Okay. So now we are going to stop here. All of you put your attendance in the chat box, and those who are interested to go ahead and study something on their own, this is the problem that you can try to solve. Okay, we need to simplify this network by replacing multiple components with their equivalent transform impedance, and ultimately you can also find out the transfer function of this particular circuit. Okay, I don't think this is any complicated question. You already know what you have to do. Just replace R, L, and C, or basically convert this circuit into Laplace domain, right? And then the parallel and series combination you can do, and you can find out the equivalent. Okay, so let's continue our discussion, yesterday's discussion about the mathematical modeling of electrical systems. Okay, so this is what we have seen, that in order to simplify this task, what is our task? Our task is to find out the transfer function, right? Our task is to find out the transfer function of the given circuit in the form of VO of S divided by VI of S. What are these? VO is the output, and when we say VO of S, it is the Laplace transform of the output, and VI of S is the Laplace transform of the input. Okay, so this is the ratio that we have to find out. Now, as I said yesterday, before going for solving it directly by applying the loops and all, what we will do, we will try to find out the equivalent impedance of this combination first. And for that, we have seen various equations yesterday, right? We have seen it like this. If impedances are in series, we will just add them to find out the equivalent impedance. And if they are in parallel, this is the formula that we are going to use. You can recall that this is the same formula that we have been using all the time in electrical engineering, right? So it's not something new. The difference is, instead of R, L, and C, we are going to write down their equivalent Laplace domain impedances, or they are also called as transform impedance. Okay, so basically for this particular combination, R and L, these are in parallel, so their individual impedances are ZR and ZL. So if we want to find out the equivalent impedance Z for this parallel combination, right? For this parallel combination, if we are trying to now find out the equivalent impedance, then we are going to use the formula 1 by Z is equal to 1 by ZR plus 1 by ZL. Okay, and here ZR is obviously only R, and ZL is, just see this, okay, LS. We have seen this yesterday and in the earlier lecture, that for a inductor, its transform impedance is L multiplied by S, and for a capacitor, it will be what? 1 upon Cs. Okay. So this is what we are going to get, and if we simplify this, this is the final value of Z, which is equal to RLS upon R plus LS. Okay. So this is the final answer that we get. Not really the final answer. This is the equivalent impedance that we get for the parallel combination of R and L. Okay. So the circuit now becomes a little more simplified in this way, that instead of that parallel combination of R and L, we are now going to substitute this Z, where Z is equal to RLS upon R plus LS, and then C is like this. And here we will write down the equations, right? Here we will write down the individual equations. VI of S is equal to ISZ, right? Is it correct? VI, voltage, input voltage will be equal to IS into Z plus the voltage drop across this plus voltage drop across these, right? These two, it will be the summation of these two voltage drops. Okay, so that is what we get, ISZ plus 1 upon CS into IS. And output voltage here is nothing but the voltage across the capacitor. So output voltage V of S is equal to 1 upon CS IS. Okay. Now what shall be done? Yes, anyone? Yeah, anyone? What shall be done next? You should try to solve this now. You should try to solve this in a whatever possible way, right? What is the ultimate thing that we want? We, at the end, what we want is VO of S upon VI of S. This is the final answer that we want. This is the transfer function of this particular circuit. So you can simply apply the what we did yesterday, right? Here we can get IS in terms of VO of S. IS is equal to CS into VO of S, and that you can substitute in the other equation, or you can also yeah, what I'm talking about. Yeah, any one of you are trying, or shall I write it on the screen? Are you trying it on your own? What I'm saying here from this equation, IS is equal to what? CS into VO of S, right? IS is equal to CS into VO of S. So what we can do now, and also here what we can do, VI of S is equal to Z plus 1 upon CS into I of S, right? So now what we can do, if I say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2, I will substitute equation 2 in equation 1. So instead of this I of S, I will substitute this value. Okay. So Z plus CS, right? VI of S is equal to Z plus 1 by CS multiplied by Z plus 1 by CS multiplied by IS. But IS we are substituting by using CS VO of S. Okay. So what we get here into CS VO of S. This is actually VI. Okay. VI of S. Okay. Now what? Now we can simplify. Now we can try to simplify this. What do we want ultimately? VO and VO divided by VI. So let's simplify this term first a little bit, and then we will rearrange the terms. So I will rewrite this VI of S is equal to, if I try to multiply yes. Anyone of you trying or not? Or you are just going to see the screen and copy on and are you writing down in your notebooks what we are saying here? Yes, I need your feedback. Yes. Okay, you are writing down or you are trying to solve?
VI of S is equal to 1 upon 1 plus Z into CS.
VI of S is equal to
V naught of S upon VI of S is equal to 1 upon 1 plus Z into CS. Is it right?
no, your voice is not clear. It is breaking a little bit in between. Yeah, what you said. I will write down in different colors there. Yeah, what you said.
V naught of S upon VI of S is equal to 1 upon 1 plus Z into
Slowly. Yeah, this is what you are telling. V of S upon Vi of S is equal to
1 upon
1 upon
1 plus
1 plus
Z
Z
into CS.
into CS. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but Z is not a value. Z is what? Z is a representation of a value, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Z you will have to replace with something. Its real value. This is right. Okay, by the way, this is right. What we have said here. 1 upon 1 plus ZCS. This is correct. But now, instead of only Z, because Z is not in terms of any of the values given in the circuit. Right? In the circuit, do we have Z? This is the original circuit. Right? So we have just made Z equivalent to this. We have calculated that and replaced that for simplifying our calculation. But while calculating the final answer, we have to go for the actual values of the Z. So what is the value of Z? I am repeating here. It is RLS upon R plus LS. Okay. So this value goes in. This value goes in here, replaces there, and then we will simplify. But by the way, are all of you able to write down this in this form? Are you getting it in this form?
Yes, sir.
Yes. It is not really a difficult thing, and anyway, these things you will have to try on your own only. Then only you will be able to solve many problems, right? You will have to practice this. Okay. You will have to practice this on your own a lot of times. Then only you will be able to catch up with this. Okay. Okay, so great. Now, when we substitute this, what we get? 1 upon 1 plus, instead of z, we are going to write this down, r ls upon r plus ls. This is what we have just substituted, z multiplied by c s. So what will be the final simplification now? You have this in the denominator term, so we will multiply and divide the numerator and denominator by this term. So what we will get, if you multiply and divide by this smaller term, r plus ls, divided by, it will go here, r plus ls plus multiplication of this, r l c s square. Is it right? Is it correct or not? Yes or no?
सर तिथे स्क्वेअर कसं आलं ते
See this term,
सी एस स्क्वेअर
yeah, so s into s, that's why it is s square, and r l c, these are all in the this section in the numerator, right? This is one term, we are just multiplying by multiplying each numerator as well as the denominator by r plus ls. So this will go here and this will go on the numerator, right? Yeah, is it right?
येस सर.
Okay, now every one of you must note down this in your notebook. Keep your notebooks properly. Write down your notes properly, because this is what you are going to need. See, I will. One thing is about the exam. Okay, passing the exam, maybe it is easy or maybe it is difficult. I am not going to talk about that, but ultimately being an engineer is not just having a mark sheet, having distinction and a lot of marks and everything, but not having knowledge, right? You must know the crux of the subject, what that subject is, why we are studying that subject for. That is what the aim of your study should be. Just passing the exams, for passing the exams, you may not need any of these things. But that should not be your goal. Your goal should be to become a good electrical engineer. And to become a good electrical engineer, you will need to be able to solve real world problems. And this is actually a real world problem. Electrical circuit we are trying to model. Why we are modeling an electrical circuit? Because this electrical circuit can, maybe it will be used in certain for certain tasks, for certain for controlling some kind of a plant or something, and for that you will need certain. Actually, we are going to see this in the practicals also, that how a series RLC circuit is to be modeled and why modeling is important. See what we have done here. We have just created a model. But when we basically what is required here, the model is in form of mathematical equations, and there are three components, R, L, and C. So based on these values of the R, L, and C, the way the circuit functions will change. I will show you this when we will run different practicals. At that time, we will see what happens when we change the various values of R, L, and C. And that is what the purpose of modeling will be. To find out correct values of system components so that we get desired response. Okay, so that we get desired response. That is what the aim of our modeling will be, and that is I am going to show you when I will show you some practical. Okay, I hope all of you have written down this or solve this problem. So let's move on to the next one. See, a very simple circuit now. Find transfer function of the following circuit. It is simply a series RLC circuit. R, L, and C, all three are in series. Here is the input voltage. Here is the output voltage, and transfer function will be what? VO of S divided by VI of S. This is what we want. Okay. V of S upon VI of S. So what shall be the procedure to be followed for this? Now I'm going to wait for you to solve. Okay, we are again, the procedure will be same. First, you will have to write down, whenever we are going to solve this problem, the procedure would be almost the similar one. First, write down the equations or the system function in differential equation form. What does it mean? Vi of t is equal to, if this is the current I of t, Vi of t will be equal to R into I of t plus L di of t by dt plus 1 upon C integral I of t dt. Right? This is what the equation would be. Correct? This is what the equation will be. And that is what we have to first write down. Now I am going to wait for